Honestly, I think it's noontime, so in the honey and happy. Who gives a Anyway, we're going to do a little tool talk today. Tools. Every man needs tools. This would be number 3. I broke this one. You can see it's snapped out there, and maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but it's cracked in there. So what I did was re-drilled holes because they're weak now. Put the fittings in, and I cut the tool short so I can put it under my knee. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let's buy a new tool so we can keep it on hand. Well, I ordered a tool about a couple weeks ago, I think it was. And it came today in the mail. Here's how it works. Has set screws in it, both sides. And the copper rod goes in, you rough the edge up, and as it wears down, you can pull it out until, eventually it just, nothing left of it. These tools take a lot of abuse. Now this one here, as you can see, needs to be cut yet. And then it's nice because I have a drawer with a couple of these in, and then eventually I'll use those for something. Anyway, when I first started knapping, I'll show you the tool I made. Give me a moment. These were the tools I was making. It's a piece of alloy, like 3/8 inside a 1/2 inch pipe. And for about a year and a half, this is what I used. I made many of them. This is my very first one. Had an insert on this side, and I used to keep them sharpened. I worked inside a rental garage, and then every night when I was done, I would go up to my father's house and use his soft grinder to sharpen the tips for the next day. Well, we ended up buying a house, so now I have all that stuff here. And I don't have to work in those cold garages anymore. I made a few of these sticks for friends as well. As a matter of fact, I have a friend up in Maine right now who's using one, and a friend in Alabama. A friend up in Maine, I sent him another tool, a thinner one, and let's just say good luck, because it does take quite a bit to learn. Anyway, today I come up with the crazy notion, take the copper out. We're going to start over with aluminum. So, I'm not going to retire this one just yet, but we're going to give this one a try. Now, ooh, sounds like my first date. I'm going to sand this down nice and soft, give it an edge, stick it back in that, cut the handle short, and go from there. Now, the next tools that I will be talking about, in a moment, rubber gloves. It's hard to turn the phone on and off with rubber gloves. This is my mallet. I'm not sure what size this is. I think it's like 1.25 inches. I probably would need 2 inches round. But this piece here alone is like $15. But this is what I strike the stick with. Okay? Now these are my indirects. As you can see, they're all cut. You don't want any overhang coming out the other side of your leg. In other words, when you put this in behind your knee, that's probably about as much as that'll stick out. Now, this is my personal preference. This is just for the benefit of those who want to try this. Okay, there you go. This is something I just started doing recently, and I'm very happy that I made this decision. This would be the size that I chose to go with first. This was an Ishii stick, cut down. I broke my original one. That's the one up in Maine. This is my new one. Then I have my middle ground. And so far this thing is taking a beating, and there's no stopping it, no breaking it. Very happy with this one. This is number 3, the largest one you can get, which is 3/8. And this one here is designed for Indirect. You hear that? Yeah, that's because it keeps breaking. So I don't know how much life this thing's got left, but we're going to give it a try anyway. But yeah, that's what I got going on for Indirect. 3 sizes only. Okay, next is boppers. This is something I just recently got into. It says leg pad. You're going to need a leather leg pad. And you should have something to go underneath it. I noticed that hitting your leg hurts quite a bit, so it's nice if you have an old beach towel or blanket, maybe an old sweatshirt or something stick underneath your leather pad. Well, it's just out of reach, so I'm not going to bother. But anyway, this is my second set. You can buy a set like this for about $35 to $37. They're lead filled, or no, I shouldn't even say lead, they're Babbitt. Babbitt's quite similar to lead, just a little less dangerous to work with. But I have 3 sizes. I don't know what the sizes are on them, but for the most part they're very handy for the work I do, especially breaking these down. The reason I went this route instead of hammer stones is because of my hands. This hand here is useless almost anymore, and the more I do with hammer stones or Indirect, the more painful it becomes. So I'm always looking for different alternatives to eliminate that problem. And well, anyway, like I was saying, these are about $35 for all 3 of them. These can be picked up at Kentucky Flint Works. Tell Dennis I sent you. He won't give you a discount, I'm pretty sure of it. But it's nice to know that if you use my name, you never know. Maybe he'll send something extra. I wouldn't count on it. Now, what these here would be in Babbitt filled, they wear down pretty quick. I've noticed that I'm getting approximately 6 months use out of them. I don't use them steady. I use them period, and when I use them hard. And like I said, they're very impressive. Like I said, this is the second set. I completely tore my first one apart using it on local stone, so I don't do that no more. I just use it on like Ohio, Obsidian, Georgetown. I wouldn't suggest taking these out in the field. And I always keep, this is a brand new set, I always keep a brand new set in my toolbox. That way when these break down, I have brand new ones on hand. And when I start using these, I will order another box, and it will be stayed taped and in the toolbox. Okay, next. Okay, pressure flaking. It's one of my favorite territories. My eyesight's fairly decent now with progressive glasses, so for the most part I work underneath a lamp, and I'll work right off the top of this whole mess if I have to. My points range from about 4 inches anywhere to fitting inside the circumference of a dime. So then I have some other tools just for that purpose as well. Pads, big must. You want something stiff, and I added some buffalo padding to the back. That way I could work in all different directions. I have a thin rubber one. These don't last long. And quite frankly, these are dangerous. You can see holes in the back here. So when you're working with something like this, you're going to need some kind of hefty leather or something behind. And I've driven many of flakes of glass right into my hand, and it's, well, you know it hurts. It's no different than just taking a bunch of needles or sharp nails and just stab yourself. Sometimes you don't even feel it because it's just that tiny until, you know, it gets in the skin, and then you just keep pushing it in further. But for the most part, not like this. For bigger projects, that would be one of the ways that I work. Tonk. Stay out of here. But I'll work right out of my hand like this. Tonk. My God, you. Go play. Or whatever. Okay. Covered that. Now there's different styles. We've already established some videos with the issue stick. You don't need a double-ended one. The reason I did this was because I thought, you know what, for the few extra bucks, if I don't use this, just cut the ends off, and now I got 2 new pressure flakers and a piece in the middle to build something. Or mainly the reason I bought a double one is because I can sharpen both ends, and I don't get the energy to do that often. So it's kind of like, when this end dulls down, switch to the sharp end. For a few extra bucks, why not have it? Tools that I made. This is a large horseshoe nail. Either iron or steel. It's just a regular like roofing nail, or you always find one just laying around somewhere. And I drilled it in. I put some set screws in there, and honestly, I sharpen it and it lasts quite a while. Horseshoe nails, the bigger ones, you can just basically sharpen them flat, and they're great for notching or just little edge work. This one's always my favorite. This one will cost you about $22, but it's worth it. This was engineered to take a horseshoe nail without cutting the head off or wiring the ends or anything like that. I've had this for probably close to 1.5 years, and I can honestly tell you, it's cheap to maintenance. I think I spend about maybe $1 or $2 a year, and you just put it in your vise, tap on here with a hammer, bang it out, and then flip the piece over and bang your new nail in and slide it all back together. This is perfect. You will find many, many uses for something like this. Okay, I think I pretty much covered everything. I do have other tools I made. Well, no, I didn't make this. This is another leather pad. This is mainly for behind the rubber pad itself, and as you can see, I folded it in half. I'm telling you, people, be very careful with the rubber pads if they don't have some kind of strong backing. And besides, you're going to break a lot of pieces, especially long, like obsidian and stuff like that. If you're working on knife blades, or maybe a 4 or 5, 6 inch blade you want to make, it's fine to use this, but it's a risk every time you do. Okay, what else? This is a tool that I put together with the parts I need, and it's It's for all the set screws. It matches every single one of them. So I always have one of these on hand. Another tool I made. Just drilled a hole straight through. Set this up on the vise and I hammered a large horseshoe nail through it. Beautiful. You're going to find sometimes you're going to need just that one tool. Nobody sells it. You're going to have to make it. And don't be afraid to try. Hard leather pad. All the sticks. These are some other tools I got. Abo tools. I've experimented with them. I need a whole lot more practice. I've used deer tines many a times, and honestly, not bad. But when you're making bird points, you don't need. You could. If you got to keep it sharp, but these don't stay sharp long at all. Braiders. You can use regular stone that you find down at the river as long as it's coarse on the outside. For the most part, this is a grinding wheel. You can buy one at Lowe's for about $6 or $7. Bring it home, take a big hammer, hit it right in the middle, and it breaks off into 4 equal pieces. So far, I haven't seen it smash into anything less than 4 equal pieces. And these wear down fast. This is definitely light abrasion. And then, again, you can buy these online. These last quite a while. They wear out in the middle. So the next thing you know, you're going to have, a piece that's like that wide at the top, narrow, and then that wide at the bottom. Then you'll start using the sides, and then it just, about $5. I keep 2 on hand at all times. Okay, that's pretty much it for tool time. Toksa. Yan happy was the Toksa.